Okay, hi everyone. It is update day, and as you can see, I am just updating on my computer here. But have no fear, we got plenty to talk about today. We got some Master Ability 2s we're going to talk about. We got some general upgrades for characters, and this isn't going to be a batch review. That will be a separate video. And while this is loading in, I would like to show off something because we have finally crossed the 2-week threshold for a brand new numbered Final Fantasy. And while I understand that viewers out there are not incredibly excited about necessarily the gameplay, it is still a numbered Final Fantasy. It is a new story, new characters, new world, and also just some kick-ass music. So can I, I think that's right? The FF4, one of the guys who makes the FF14 music. I don't know if it's all. I'm not a complete expert, but he is an absolutely awesome composer for the stuff we've heard from Final Fantasy 16. I mean, yeah, maybe the gameplay is not for you, but the espers or icons, Ifrit, Bahamut, all of that stuff look really cool. And just a reminder, probably haven't seen all of them yet. I think it's certain that we haven't seen all of them in game yet. So I'm pretty stoked, man. It's under that 2-week mark. Like the hype is getting big, and soon I'm just gonna have to leave the internet to make sure that there are no spoilers. I mean, you might not see me for 2 weeks, but so why am I talking about this? Obviously, I've talked about this to death. I'm going to share, I live in Japan. So I want to share something cool that is happening in Japan because the convenience stores here have lotteries. They have lotteries where, uh, like, to do with animes and games and different properties, they have like lotteries where you can win stuff. So like recently there was the Legend of Zelda lottery, and see, we won like I say we because it wasn't just me who played it. We look at this Zelda notepad. That's pretty cool. We got this clear file, which clear files in Japan, pretty neat. A little Korok notepad. It's very adorable. And there's a Korok or two hiding around my apartment, probably under a rock. But anyway, so yes, with that being said, take a look at this. I think this was just announced, like not even too long ago, if not like immediately, because I've been basically pretty hyped for the fact that this was almost a certainty to happen. So this is the FF16 lottery that will be being held at a 7-Eleven. If you're in Japan around June 30th, you can go to your closest 7-Eleven or a 7-Eleven that is participating and enter in a lottery. It's about $8 a draw, roughly $8 Canadian, because I am a Canadian and that's how I think. It's like what, $6-ish American. So the prizes are a little bit different. Basically, there's only so many for each tier. So let's take a look. Tier A, which is considered to be the highest tier, for the most part, is this cool Shiva statue. And given that I am getting the collector's edition with the Ifrit fighting Phoenix one, boy, Shiva would be a really, I might actually try really hard because Shiva looks absolutely awesome. Next up, you got these little figurines, I do believe they are actually metal figurines, uh, of each of the 8 heavily publicized espers. You got Bahamut, Garuda, all in this like cool like metal or like ripped apart, or like ripped metal sort of look. I actually really love these. C are a couple of glasses, Phoenix and Ifrit, which yeah, I'd love both. Some coasters, some nice thick ones. They remind me of the FF14 Eorzea Cafe ones. Some little plastic figurines. These I'm less fussy about, but that's just because interesting that it's like the really young characters. Here got like the character art for our major Esper players, some clear files because it's Japan, and a special one is a actual uh, crystal, like silvery version of Shiva. Personally, I would much rather the blue one because I just like color in my stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is essentially cool, and it's happening in Japan, and I cannot wait to see. Oh, look, we got some extra shots of Shiva. Pretty nice detail. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's pretty cool for a figure you can win at a convenience store. Fingers crossed, boys. Best of luck. I'll do a follow-up video on this later. Take a look at that silver Shiva. Oh man, that actually is really cool. You imagine if you win both. But okay. That's basically the FF16 stuff for the day. Let's move on and talk about WOTV. So WOTV has introduced the brand new vision card, and I understand that some people are more positive on it than me. My biggest problem, I know I'm supposed to take like a more less biased look, but for this VC, it's kind of difficult for me, essentially because I'm looking at this as a strike VC at this point. I really don't overly like this as a glove VC. I don't particularly overly like this VC even for fists really that much, although it's pretty good defensive and it does have a fairly high AP acquisition rate. I don't know. Both Ultima and Game 8 have rated it pretty highly. I guess my biggest issue is it's a permanent VC, which means that it's always in the pool. If it turns out to be really good later, I mean, there's a high chance that you eventually get this off of a free summon or something. I think the VC might be better. Obviously, some people have... I have been reading the comments. I haven't been responding to them because this week has been hell. But the big thing about like people being like, well, what if you want to mix this and this? And for all intents and purposes, I just don't think that's like the ticket right now. Like you really... I mean, yes, you could wager in on the idea that you would be better than a couple of different, but still kind of splitting damage unless you have a lot of just general VCs, which aren't usually as strong as specific ones and job ones. I don't think that it's going to work. Point being that personally, I'm saying that I think that this is not an essential VC. I still think that this is a sub VC that you run, and it's, again, probably more of a luxury, and people definitely do want this, but not me because, yeah, it's permanent, so I feel like it's a little bit of for it. As for JP, we do have right now a half rate on the barracks, which means essentially you can get character shards faster and probably a good time to throw some of those drinks if you've been saving them up. Yeah, Porcelain Tower has returned as well as a new story update. I haven't done the story update yet, but Porcelain Tower, basically, as you can see, the lightning portion has returned, and over here is our new ice portion. And if we go all the way to the top team is Shiva and friends. Hey, look, a Yerma. Yes, we be Yermaing. And you can see just some of the rewards to go along with that. So there you go. Now, let's move on and talk really quickly. The only two pieces of armor that got upgraded were the Azure Dragon armor, which gives Berserk and Charm resistance for 50% for 3 turns, as well as maximum HP up by 15%. When it's up to a 6-star, looks like it got single target resistance of 8, obviously higher stats too, but less than overly excited. As for the ice ring, I don't think anybody's got it yet, so I don't have any information on what it is. Next up, for Starlit Elena fans, her level 80 master ability now gives her magical power plus 10, evasion plus 10, and reaction block rate of 30, which is a generally pretty good upgrade, especially for a master ability too. I do not rate the evasion super high because I've seen how it works against certain teams, and 10 evasion is not enough in my opinion to really get there. But hey, it can work some of the times, and as it says, as it said in a very a certain movie, 60%. I don't. 60% of the time it works. That doesn't make sense. Next up, Majin Fina. Now, another highly used unit in the game. Elena is still used on light teams quite a bit from what I've seen. And that, while that I'm not super convinced on her performance, I am convinced on Majin Pina. Majin Pina is used in a ton of dark teams. And here, magical attack plus 10, I do believe it's single attack plus 10, and your own critical evasion rate plus 20. Generally, I think it's okay. It's not really helping her with survivability, but she can hit harder than she could before, and for just essentially hitting the button and spending 25 energy, that's a pretty good investment. Last but not least is McLeod. Now, McLeod, AP consumption down by 10%, critical rate plus 20, area attack resistance plus 10. Generally, there's nothing to complain about here. This is just particularly really strong and really good. McLeod is also getting his 142, so this is a double whammy for him. Overall, I mean, there's nothing to complain about Master Ability 2s. They just make character better, and you don't have to spend really anything on it. So, great. And last but not least, let's talk about the Phantasmagoric, which is the translation, but dream enhancement for the characters this time around. Elena, regular, Skahal, Ibarra, Ronaldo. Oh my god, I want to say Ronaldo. Fire Fist Dude, Raldor. Glassy Regalia, or Glassy Dress Up, Shell, the Wind Archer, Larila, and Bazim. Now, here's the thing. This is what I have seen thus far. There seems to be a fairly big focus on these characters being good against general their own element. Alaya got Wind Killer and Attack up, as well as one of her abilities got Haste Remove, or Haste/Remove automatic AP recovery effect added to one of her abilities, which overall means she's just a more effective killer. Skahal kind of got ability activation time down, and one of his effects changed. We're going to wait for WOTV Calc to see the higher details before. Glassy, like extra resistances and an extra use on one of her abilities while adding Dispel before the attack. Jealous, AP consumption down, attack up, slashing attack resistance up, and physical attack killer down added on her ranged ability. Raldor got defense penetration up, strike resistance, piercing resistance, and blast resistance. No, he got strike attack up of 15. Interesting. Larila is the one. All right, so this is I don't have any information on Ibarra yet because I have my Ibarra is not ready and I haven't seen anybody post it, which means that it's going to take a little bit longer. But Larila is the one I kind of want to focus on because this is one of my favorite characters in the game and she deserves a little bit more spotlight. She got defense penetration up by 20. She got reaction block rate plus 30, and there's an agility reduction added for 3 turns on one of her abilities if it crits. I do believe there was something that I've heard mentioned about the... I do believe it is this skill. That it also is like no casting time anymore. Let me just... I actually want to see this ability now on Calc. WOTV Calc is still not updated. No. So I'm gonna want to wait and actually see what the full details on this, because I'm not quite understanding which ability it is. Point being that her overall, she seems to be fairly good at being a range character now, and she can deal damage a little bit more, and she has some kind of agility modification. But I'm really hoping that, I mean, I already snap upgraded her just because, but as you can see, mine's never been fully built, so be a little bit longer before we see if she makes a huge difference. Bazim got slash attack resistance penetration rate, as well as evasion for magic and piercing, as well as just magic attack resistance up added on one of his abilities. Honestly, the ones that are the biggest standout probably are Alaya and Skahal at this point. Raldor is kind of interesting given the overall increase in quality in fist units since Bride Alaya, and the fact that those two units can also use like Dark Ifrit is very notable. Now, I'm hoping that someone else on JP is going to take the opportunity to try Raldor and see if he can actually get there as being good enough. Mine, I could do it. Maybe I will. I'll have to think about that. But yeah, end of the day, there are some interesting upgrades here, and once the WOTV calc data is fully out and we can see the numbers, might give a better idea of what is overall really good here. I don't think there's anything else that is worth talking, or nothing else is specifically coming to my mind right now, but I'm fully exhausted. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope this video was informative. Summer Games Fest is just about to begin, and with that, hopefully some great new announcements for some Final Fantasy VII fans and 16 fans and everybody else. Just let's hope for some great news for us guys. Positive Umbra. So thanks so much for watching. Take care and see you next time.